parents of a transgender Alabama teen who died by suicide back in 2023 are now suing the Elba City School District where they were enrolled. In a lawsuit filed in district court Wednesday, Carmisha and Corey Williams argue the district ignored claims by their teen, known as SW in the suit, that they were being bullied. The lawsuit states this: the death of SW, a 14-year-old mixed-race student at Elba High School, died by suicide on August 9, 2023, after enduring persistent bullying, harassment, and discrimination based on gender identity, sexual orientation, race, and mental health status. It goes on to say that the defendants demonstrated deliberate indifference to SW's suffering and failed to take appropriate action to protect them from harassment. Now, CNN reached out to all parties named in the lawsuit for comment on those allegations. We have not yet heard back. Joining me now are the attorneys for SW's family, Artur Davis and Constance Cooper. Thank you so much to the both of you for making time and for discussing this important topic. Let me start with this lawsuit that it paints a picture of years of harassment and neglect by the school district. What do the both of you see as the single most critical failure in protecting SW?
The hiring of the principal, Warren Weeks. Warren Weeks was known to be a bully. The former guidance counselor had worked with him at a previous school and knew that there were issues with parents, with teachers, and with students of physical violence, in fact, by this principal. And they hired him anyway. And because of that, there was a confrontation with Shania, and her family has, I'm going to say her sometimes. I'm going to say they sometimes. So does Shania's family. They say both. They asked to be called Shane. And the family really wants Shania's name lifted up because they feel that she wasn't listened to in life, and they want her to be listened to in death so that she can finally rest. But on that last day of school when she was there, first of all, Shania had warned the principal that, hey, I'm being bullied. This is a new principal. This is his first day of school. He says, fine, I understand. She comes in the next day, is wearing a very large hoodie to cover up her self-harm scars from mutilation. At that point, Shania is confronted by the principal, Warren Weeks, in front of about 50 students all the way to lunch. And Dr. Weeks forcibly removes the hoodie from her body. That shows the self-harm scars, and that shows the outline of their breast, which made them very self-conscious. Dr. Weeks forced Shania to go through the rest of the day without that hoodie, with only a very small tank top underneath. The next day, Shania got her little sister ready for school, put her little sister on the school bus, and killed herself.
Yeah, and I want to be clear because there are some deeply serious accusations in this lawsuit against former administrators, a principal that you mentioned here by name. Those are your allegations, but I want to be clear to our audience that they have not been proven in court. The school and these individuals, they're going to have their chance to defend themselves and file their response. Now, I do want to get to this. Last year, I spoke with the mother of a 15-year-old gay student, Nigel Shelby, who in 2019 died by suicide. She was fighting a wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation, including what was labeled as a Don't Say Gay bill that would have banned any teacher-led discussions in public schools on sexual orientation and gender identity. Now, that ultimately died in the state Senate. Here's what Kamika Shelby told me. I want you both to listen.
It's dangerous. You're basically making it official that they don't have a safe space. School is not supposed to be a place that would make a child want to end their life. He's no longer here, but there's still a million of him that is here, and it does affect them.
Now, this mother, she successfully sued the Huntsville City Board of Education, alleging that school officials ignored repeated reports of harassment, much of what we're hearing with this lawsuit. Her case was settled and policy reforms were promised, although the district denied any wrongdoing. What kind of changes, Artur, are you hoping will come from this lawsuit?
At minimum, school districts around this country need to realize, first and foremost, these situations are not about politics. They're not about the hot button issues that people are debating in campaigns. They're not about issues that are being weaponized in campaign commercials. These matters are about children. And you ask at the beginning what the heart of this lawsuit is about. The heart of this lawsuit is about hearing the cries of a child. It is about hearing the cries of a child who's being bullied, who was harassed, and was made to feel less than human. There is no world, whatever your politics, whatever your worldview, no matter who you vote for, there is no world where the cries and the screams of a child ought to go unanswered. The unspeakable cruelty that happened in this case, the incredible attacks on this child, this human being, it's a reminder to schools, you can't stay silent when your children are being wounded. The very laws that we're relying on in this case, the federal anti-discrimination laws, the Equal Protection Clause, those laws are now being weaponized in our society to attack DEI programs. They're being weaponized to say to black entrepreneurs, you can't get grants. To minority children, you can't get scholarships. We're showing in this case that those laws are still powerful and can still serve the cause of civil rights and justice. That's an important lesson in this lawsuit.
And you mentioned DEI. I do want to get to this, that last year, Alabama Governor, Kay Ivey, she signed a sweeping law, Senate Bill 129, that banned diversity, inclusion, and equity programs in schools and universities, joining states like Texas and Florida. It came in the midst of this nationwide push from conservative lawmakers to limit the rights of transgender and LGBTQ individuals and ban DEI programs. Now, that law went into effect last October and prohibits DEI offices, mandatory DEI training and teaching, or endorsing certain, quote, divisive concepts that's related to race, gender, systemic bias. Now, your lawsuit claims that marginalized students like SW, that they were left unprotected, even when others were shielded from bullying. Either of you, do you worry about Alabama's anti-DEI ban, that could further deepen these sorts of disparities, seeing on the ground in schools in Alabama?
The important thing is there already is another law on the books in Alabama that was passed in 2018 in response to the suicide of a 10-year-old in Montgomery, Alabama. And under that law, schools have to put in place a systemic bullying addressing and protection plan. Part of this plan is very simple. It's a bullying reporting form. That bullying reporting form is supposed to be with a student handbook. It's supposed to be posted on the website. In this case, Elba City Schools failed to post that and kept the reporting forms under lock and key. Now, under the program, there should be an anti-bullying, under the law, there should be an anti-bullying program that's adopted by each school. And that program should be effective. It should stop things like this from happening. There should be a report, there should be a full investigation and a way to stop this. Yes, Shania was different. Shania was gay. Shania was trans. Shania was half black, half white. But every student has something that they're self-conscious about, something that makes them feel excluded. And the important thing is scientific studies have shown that shunning feels just like pain in the body. So you can imagine what a 14-year-old feels when the highest symbol of authority, the principal, is disrobing them. This isn't just about Shania, and it's not just about Shania being gay or trans, and it's not about a small Alabama town, because it's so easy to make these small town scapegoats, right? This happens everywhere. This happens all across the country. This isn't about Alabama. This is about every single child and making sure every single child is protected and listened to.
And laws are no stronger than the people who are in charge of enforcing them. Virtually every school district in America has anti-bullying laws, and Alabama has an anti-bullying law. But if the people who are running the schools, if the teachers who are on the front lines aren't standing up to enforce those laws, they mean nothing whatsoever. One of the things that we believe we're going to prove in this lawsuit is that the Elba School District enforced these laws for some kids, but not for others. You don't get to pick and choose whose cries you hear. You don't get to pick and choose who deserves protection. You don't get to pick and choose who deserves to have their rights safeguarded.
And we'll have to leave it there. We could keep going on and on and on. And as you both mentioned, this suit goes beyond what's happening in this one school, beyond this one district. Thank you both for coming on and discussing this important issue. Constance and Artur.
Thank you for having us.
Now, if you or someone you know is struggling with feelings of self-harm, there is help available. You can text or call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 to get help.